And welcome to another episode of Behind the Shield. I am your host today, Chad Spears, the Director of Security Operations here at InfusionPoints. And today I have a man with me that has been very, very influential in my career, and I'm excited to have him with us. A man that wears many hats here, the VP of IT and Operations and CIO, Mr. Michael Wingler from Wilkes Community College. Mike, thanks for being with us.
Thanks, Chad. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem, man. Um, as I mentioned, very influential in my career. Growing up into the IT world, when I came out of the military and kind of jumping back into things, one of the things I'd be remiss if I didn't tell this story of how I met Mike. And as I got back from the military, and was kind of dabbling around in IT and taking some classes. Maybe still a little mischief, And I remember setting the stage here. I was in a computer engineering technology class, CET. That was the curriculum that I was going into. And probably, a couple weeks into the semester, really realized that this was not the field I should be in. It was the networking technology field that I should have chose. But I remember being in that class and just bored out of my mind for whatever reason. We were studying, transistors, diodes, and all this stuff, and I was like, man, this isn't it. Transistor goes bad on the motherboard. We're just buying a new motherboard, But I had my laptop, and I was just dabbling, and I was like, there's a switch that we're connected to on this network here, or a router. I was like, let's see if we can get in that thing. And so I'm just sitting there poking and prodding, and maybe trying a few passwords. Again, ethics were not necessarily high on the list at this point in my career and in my life, and so being young and dumb. And so I'm just trying different passwords and different things. And I knew Mike, I knew who you were, but we hadn't necessarily formally met or anything at that point in life. I believe you even went to school with my sister, and so I kind of even knew through that. But trying different passwords, and about 5 minutes later, all of a sudden I see Mike sprinting down the hall by the class, and I'm like, oh no, that's the network admin. And then I see him spring back, and then all of a sudden he pops his head into the room. And as soon as he does that, I slam my laptop shut. And he asked the instructor, he's like, "Has anybody got a laptop in here? We're getting some notifications of somebody trying to access one of our pieces of equipment." And I'm just sitting there who would have the audacity? Who would do that? And so it was so funny that was kind of the first interaction with you. And then I remember later on, after we formally met and kind of created a relationship, myself and Brian Porter, some of the younger guys there that was in the college. I ended up telling you, I was like, Mike, hey, remember that day? That was me, and I apologize. It won't happen again. I won't do it again. But I appreciate the fact that you didn't give me a hard time about that. You was actually really intrigued that I was wanting to learn, and that to me is really why I'm excited to kind of sit here and podcast with you today and talk, is because of that mindset. And so, to that end, I'll say thank you for not kicking me out of college.
Absolutely. I got another real quick story about that. Is my office at the time, I was at the lower campus, and your class was clear at the top of the campus. And I had just, as a network administrator, I had just installed some very simple monitoring tools. Mm-hmm. So I wasn't even sure if it was a real thing. So I was sitting in my office, and the alarm started going off, and I really didn't even know what it was. I just man, there's something going on. Yep. So I kept looking into it, and then I was like, yeah, there is definitely something going on here. So I hightailed it. Of course, I was a lot younger then. I sprinted up them stairs. I got up there, and I never could figure out what it was, but I knew a rogue laptop was trying to get into the network. And when I entered the room, I looked around. And there was I can remember, there was 3 faces. I'm like, it's them. I know it's them. And you was one of the faces out of 3. But a real quick funny story in my career. I've always loved hosting students. Mm-hmm. I love students at the college.
Right.
So I've always had work studies, co-ops, just volunteer students. And I know you helped me a lot at the college. But I had a student one time, and we used to carry walkie-talkies, the maintenance department, all the IT. I'm sitting in my office, and the work study is over there working on something, and I hear him say, "Oh no," and it wasn't just a split second. The radio is going off. Is the network down? And I remember looking at the guy's face, and he's just pale, like he just destroyed and made a huge mistake. And I'm like, dude, it's okay.
Yeah.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, right.
Now let's just fix it. Calm down, let's fix it. So yeah, I love those stories and the interaction with the students.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, that's one of the things again that I've always loved about the community college. Loved about the interactions with you and even the other instructors over there. For folks that don't know, here in the western part of North Carolina, where InfusionPoints is located, Wilkes County, it is a very tight knit group of IT professionals in this area. And I could pick up my phone right now and call any number of them, and I feel sure that they would answer and help out with a problem. It's just kind of how we're natured around here in the western part as well. You look at things like Helene or even this latest snowstorm, right? There are people that'll go out of their way to help other businesses and help individuals, and so that extends over into the community college. So Mike, tell me a little bit. Let's jump into you've been at the community college for how many years now?
My career, once I graduated, my career in IT has been about 27 years.
27 years. So been at the community college for a while then. Talk to me about where you started at the community college and even where you're at today.
Okay. Yeah, so I began my education at the community college. So right out of high school, went to the college. Funny thing though is I initially wanted to be in law enforcement. And when I went to meet with an advisor about it, I remember her, and the funny thing is the advisor and I are still good friends to this day. I mean, she even sends my son presents for Christmas. But she said, "Do you really want to be in law enforcement?" And so she kind of talked me out of it, honestly, but it was one of the best moves I made. So she taught me into programming. So I went to school there for a programming degree. Then I got a few other degrees to stack along with the programming, mostly networking stuff. So right as I was graduating, a position came open at the college as a PC tech.
Okay.
Yeah. So I applied for it. Didn't think I had a chance in the world to get it.
Right.
But I remember getting a call from the president one night, and he's like, "Mr. Wingler, I want to offer you this job for PC tech." And I said, "I'll take it." And he's like, "I haven't even talked to you about salary yet." And I said, "I don't care. I'll take it. Whatever it is, I'm good."
Yeah.
So it started my career, and I can remember the very first day, the very first task I did, and it was just amazing to start the career there. So I, as a PC tech, I started identifying change, and I think that's what really jump started my career. I was able to be a visionary person and identify change, not break fix, but change, true change. So as I started looking at change, I got additional hats, roles. I was a distance learning tech. I was over all the distance learning equipment, classrooms, all that good stuff. And of course, I started looking at our network. Back in the day, if you could make two things talk to each other in a file print, you was a genius.
Oh yeah, right.
See a couple lights on a switch, you was the man. It's not quite that way now.
No,
but,
yeah, for sure.
But I started noticing things, and for the people who are listening, you're going to think this is really crazy, but this is in the 99, 2000, 2001 time frame. I decided that something wasn't quite right on our network, and I started really digging into it. I wasn't a true network guy. I was a PC guy.
Right.
And I noticed that all of our equipment, endpoint devices, had public IP addresses.
Oh, wow.
Flat across the network, one subnet, public IP, no firewall, no DNS, no NAT.
The entire community college.
The entire community college.
Well, security was at the top of the list.
Our web server
Yeah.
that we hosted was also the file server and a PCI credit card server for our festival, all in one box. I was like, I don't think this is the way you should do this stuff. So an opportunity fell in my lap to go and get my CCNA before CCNA was real popular.
Right,
before Cisco started doing it.
Sure.
So I did a boot camp at Forsyth Tech for about a month to get all levels of my training and take my certification. And I got my CCNA, and then I knew, we were not in a good place.
Right, exactly.
So I started throwing darts at the wall, hope something sticks.
Sure.
I really didn't have good training on it, but I kind of knew what I was wanting to do. And I made some good choices. I made some bad choices.
Right.
But that moved my career into becoming the network administrator.
Okay.
And I put in the first firewalls, I went from Old Bay Network, switches into the Cisco space
Yes.
switches.
Mm-hmm.
Still no Wi-Fi, all LAN stuff, right?
Wow.
Then I didn't know exactly what power over Ethernet was, but it sounded really cool to me because
Right.
we were told in our training, do not run any power across that Ethernet. Keep that Ethernet off power.
Right. Yeah.
And then here's this device that's putting power on Ethernet.
Yeah.
Man, if they're doing that, there's something good about that.
Mm-hmm. For sure.
So when I did the switch upgrade, I invested in PoE switches.
Mm-hmm.
Still had no clue exactly what I was going to do with them.
Right.
So I got the network situated. Phase one, some VLANs, some private IP addresses, firewalls. I think we used Watchdog to begin with, something like
Right.
that.
Yep.
And then realized our phone system was dated. So I thought, man, it'd be nice that we had a digital phone system. And I can remember this day, I met a company at a conference. They did voice over IP. And I loved the company, loved them. And they came out on a day just like today. It's snow and icy out here. They came to the college and did a demonstration with me and a couple of the VPs then.
Mm-hmm.
And I was able to show them the value. And let's go back to that here in a little bit about the
Sure.
value. Okay.
Yeah.
So I showed them the value, and we were able to fund a complete voice over IP system for the campus. First time we ever had voicemail,
Oh, wow.
call forwarding, call tree.
Yeah.
Changed the world of Merlefest. It changed the world because of
Sure. Yeah.
call trees and everything. But guess what? The PoE paid off because I saved thousands of dollars by not having to buy bricks for every phone on the campus.
Oh, wow.
So I was like, that's that dart. That dart stuck.
Yeah.
Now, some of their darts didn't stick, but that one stuck.
That one stuck.
So I became network administrator, but still security was not a thing. Cybersecurity was just not a concern of ours back
Understood.
then. Right?
Yeah. Yeah. For sure.
If a computer lab got a virus, you just loaded software.
Yeah, I mean, and that was back in the day, if I remember right. You said early 2000s. I mean, ransomware wasn't even really a thing. I mean, maybe you got a file encrypted, but like ransomware really didn't come onto the scene until like 2006, 7, 8.
I mean, the worst thing we got hit with a virus back in the day is something dumb like the computer speakers will start buzzing, or the CD-ROM tray would eject automatically. Those are crazy viruses back then.
Right.
Nothing serious. And I don't think community college was a target back then either. Right.
Yeah.
So that boom in a network administrator role for quite some time. And going back to value, I felt like IT was not valued. We were just that blood sucking.
The one that always spent money.
Spending money. You can't see what we're doing because it's packed away in a closet.
Yep.
No one really cares about it until it's not working. So
Yep.
IT was just not of value.
Yeah. What do you mean I got to spend $20,000 for each of these boxes you're going to put in a closet?
Right. And you do. And back then it was all break fix stuff. So you run a ticket and you go to someone's office and they're like, oh yeah, you're with IT? What do you guys do?
Yeah, exactly.
So in my mind right then, I said, if I ever get into a position that I can make change, true change,
Right.
the first change is becoming valuable and providing value to the organization.
I love that. That's awesome.
So an opportunity come up for, at the time, the title was Associate Vice President of IT.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought, man, it'd be nice if I could have, a stab at that, right?
Sure.
So, of course, I've worked on other degrees. I went to East Carolina University, did everything online from undergrad and grad work. So I was prepared, I felt like, and everything. But I felt like I was a decent leader, but not a great leader yet.
Right.
But, again, I was fortunate enough to obtain that role.
Awesome.
And part of my goal, the big goal, was really looking at organizational change for the college.
Right. Okay.
So that we have value. We're at the forefront of decisions instead of the afterthought. I made sure that IT, not me, not my role, me value, but IT was valued. So I slowly made sure that I could bring something to the table in every meeting.
Right.
IT was valued, and I kept on that pace. To eventually, IT had a permanent seat on the leadership cabinet.
Wow.
And we were making decisions. So that was my first
love that.
goal. And so anyway, I was an associate vice president for a number of years, and then was able to be promoted into a VP role, vice
Right.
president of IT, and then CIO for the college. And then my next goal was to make sure Wilkes Community College
Hmm.
was a value in the 58 North Carolina Community College system.
Okay.
So we started really hammering down and getting involved into things at the system office level to put us on the on the map.
Right.
And I say we, my whole team.
Right. Sure.
Way. So then that was vice president for a number of years, and then here recently, my title changed to VP of IT and operations.
Hmm.
So now I'm still over IT, a big part of IT. I've got folks under me that have leadership roles in IT,
Right.
but I'm also over a lot of the operational stuff on campus, facilities maintenance, all that, because it has a big IT component to it with all
Sure.
the HVAC things.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah.
that's kind of my career in 27 years, but the number one goal is just to make sure we have value.
Love
Yeah.
that. And that kind of is a great segue, right? Talking about the value, and how you're trying to bring value to the table. And so when you're bringing that value to the table, as a representative for IT now, what is some of the biggest challenges that community colleges, not just Wilkes in general, but community colleges are facing, when it comes to the technology realm or even the security realm, things of that nature? What's some of those huge challenges that you guys are seeing?
Well, I think I can definitely speak for the majority of the 58 community colleges because there's different sizes. We got Wake Tech is huge, and you've
Right.
got some that are smaller, and we're kind of in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
We're rural area, so
Sure.
our biggest challenge is just having the resources
Okay.
because we're funded on FTE, so the number of students that we have is our funding.
Okay.
Our enrollment's good, but when you start looking at state budget,
Yeah.
equipment budget, you have to factor in instructional equipment, endpoints like laptops, desktops,
Right.
audiovisual equipment.
Oh wow.
But then you got the fun stuff like cybersecurity expenses,
Mm-hmm.
infrastructure expenses, and that can rip through your budget quick. And then Office 365, all of our software, we $100,000 our budget just goes to instructional software, easy.
Oh wow.
So that's our challenge is being able to fund the things that we know we need and having the resources, the human resources
Okay.
to do what we need. And we're a state agency, so we don't have unlimited funds. to do
Right.
that.
Yeah, we were just talking even prior to the podcast kind of kicking off, right, about that resourcing piece, right, and here even being in the western part of North Carolina, and I know here at Infusion Points, we've touched on this a lot about how post COVID or even the COVID era, right, that it really changed IT, it changed cybersecurity, it changed the workforce, it really
Mhm.
did. I think there's a lot of positives that come from it. There really is. But there are also some things that are challenging, right? Where you've got students on campus, so you got to have IT administrators, you got to have employees on
Mhm.
campus as well. And so I'm sure that that's a challenge that you guys are facing right now in hiring and drawing talent.
Yeah, absolutely. I've been with community college like a system, like I said, 27 years because I love
Mhm.
the mission of the college. I
Right.
love the students, the mission. So I've had opportunities and there's things coming my way that could have pulled me into other careers, but I
Right.
just chose to stay with the college. That was
Yeah.
my choice. Um, some of my team now have been with me 15 plus years,
Wow.
and they love the mission of the college.
Yeah.
The interesting thing that you may or may not know is the majority of my IT team are graduates through the IT program.
Huh.
So I love hiring
Yeah.
out of
But
our pool.
you kind of got
Right.
you got your own little farm league there. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly. But the challenge is, used to we were locked to geographical area. Folks want to stay local,
Sure.
and they understood that the state pay is not as high as what corporate could be.
Yeah, for sure.
But they want to be local, and there's just not a lot of corporate opportunities in
Mhm.
Wilkes for IT. But with COVID changed that with remote work. So
Yeah.
my cream of the crop graduates out of the program,
Yeah.
they're seeing these offerings where they can work remote
Mm-hmm.
and have a nice salary and good benefits,
Right.
but stay home,
Gotcha.
stay local.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge for us. But, again, I changed our IT from just break fix to be more strategic.
Right. Okay.
And that includes employment, all right, human resources.
Mm-hmm.
So I move people to wherever their strengths are.
Mm-hmm.
We're flexible in the ways that we can be to meet people where they're at. They want to be remote a day or two a week or
Right.
whatever we need to do. But I also leverage a lot of student help
Right.
because we can't pay a whole lot of money. I don't have
Sure.
budget to hire
Sure.
full. I can't hire 15 IT people.
Sure. Yeah.
So we have to
Understood.
leverage,
Right.
right? So we have typically right now I try to keep around three student
Okay.
IT,
Mhm.
and that could be someone who's interested in cybersecurity only.
Mm-hmm.
Someone wants to be a programmer,
Right.
but we bring them in and we give them live tickets, live experience.
Mm-hmm.
They'll go help a custodian person with their phone
Yeah.
app. They may go help the president with a Wi-Fi connection.
Right.
We don't
Yeah. Yeah.
separate.
And I'm glad you touched on that because that it's twofold, right? So that is so instrumental, especially even in my career. Cause I remember, being there at the community college, they had the networking project class
Yep.
and that was probably the time that, I got to work the closest with you, right?
Mhm.
Because you actually ran that class, but, I believe we wired up Lowe's Hall, as part of
Absolutely.
that. So yeah,
Mhm.
kind of some I won't say free labor or anything like that, right? I won't put y'all in that position, but it was an opportunity not only for you guys to get some work done, but also, man, it was such a benefit for us to be like, all right, this is how things are done in the real world. Listen, you know, textbook stuff's textbook, right? Yeah, you gotta learn it, you gotta know it, you gotta check that box. But the way things are done in the real world and actually being able to apply it is completely different. That's why I love certain certifications, right? That make you actually apply what
Yeah,
you know,
yeah,
instead of just hey, read this scenario and ABC. Now I like hands-on
yeah.
certifications, and so it's so beneficial. It's beneficial, but then even for me, right, touching on our relationship, I remember I spent more time probably in Mike's
Yeah.
office in between classes than I did in like the student commons or anywhere like that because I was just trying to be a sponge and soak up as much as I could. But the fact is, going back to what you said, that you enjoy that student interaction, I could definitely see that and attest to that. And that helped me so much in my career of picking up on little things and watching you do little things and you being able because you're an instructor as well, right? You were
Mhm.
teaching that network project class, so you understood the value of hey, let me show these guys how to do that. And then it's like, hey, if I need them to help me, I can go have them task them with some small things. To us, those were big things, though,
Yeah,
Mike. I can
right,
tell you.
right.
But also the benefit for us now here, even at Infusion Points, you mentioned you have your own little farm league, and we treat Wilkes Community College much the same way. So I pick up the phone and I'm like, hey, Mike, you got any
Yep.
bright and shining stars over there? I'm looking for somebody. And you're able to give me some names and say, hey, this individual here is doing great in our co-op pieces, and we bring them in for an interview and try them out, and hey, they land here at Infusion Points. So I really appreciate that aspect. And if there's other community colleges out there that are listening to this, should definitely take hold of something like that, and leverage some type of program like that because it's not only beneficial for the college itself and for the IT staff, but it's so beneficial for the student and for the individual that's looking to get their dip their toe in the water. Another thing too, stepping back on the one thing you mentioned about your career that's so funny, and I feel like it's a little bit of a change now,
Yeah.
right? You got approached with a phone call and said, here's the job, I want to offer you this job, and you're like, I'll take it.
Yeah.
We don't get that a whole lot anymore, right? But back in the day, we were looking for any type of little stone that we could jump to get our foot in the door, right?
Yeah.
And so, hey, if it was help desk, man, I'll carry PCs around. Yeah, and this was back in the day when we're carrying PCs around. I mean,
Yeah.
we're not
Big
small
anchors,
form
yeah.
factor. I mean, we're
Yeah.
hunks of metal that we're carried around campus and carried around our organizations. But yeah, you don't get that so much. And so even to the young person out there that's listening to this, I'll tell you, hey, anything you can do to get your foot in the door, use it as a launching pad, use it as an opportunity to soak up and find somebody that will challenge you. Find somebody that's better than you and, hey, strap up with them, yoke up with them, and gain as much experience and as much know-how as you possibly can. I feel like we're kind of almost losing that if we're not careful. And that's one of the things here at Infusion Points that we really try to do with our internship program and things of that nature is we want to build great employees, not
Absolutely.
only for Infusion Points, but if they were to spread their wings and go somewhere
Mhm.
else, we want them to be like, man, Infusion Points produces some high caliber individuals.
Oh,
So,
exactly. And the couple of 3 points here, and I'll segue into a challenge we have with HR, with human resources. But our students, when they come through the program and they come through like my shop and do the hands-on,
mhm,
they are prepped. They're ready
awesome. Yeah.
for an entry level position. Um, but for us, if I hire someone right out of college
Mhm.
and I keep them 5 years, they grow and then they go off to another better opportunity.
Right.
That's a win.
It
I
is
mean,
for sure.
we're in education, no matter if they're in school or if they're
Oh, wow.
working, we're training and building them for that bridge to something bigger.
I
So
like
that's a
that
win for
mentality.
us.
That's
Yeah.
awesome.
And it hurts. It hurts to lose good employees.
Yeah, yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure.
But the other thing, a good advice for new young professionals is it's about building relationships and networking.
Yeah.
So from the day you enter college through your career, you build relationships with as many people as you can
Right.
because you're going to have to lean on them at some point.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
And I think that's one thing that I've been lucky is building those relationships, both my mentors,
Mhm.
folks who have retired and gone on now,
Yep.
all the way down to my current peers, and then my students. I mean, I've had probably, I don't know how many students I've had over the years. I can't
Mhm.
even count them all, but there's a dozen or more I know by first name. I know about their family. We're close. I can
Yep.
call them anytime. They're in great opportunities from all over, not just in North Carolina, but other states as well.
Right.
Um, and then I've got other students that I may not know them by name, but I
Mhm.
know them.
Right.
And I know if I need them, I can look them up and call them.
Right.
And they know they can call on me too. So building those relationships. But the challenge with hiring and retaining
Mhm.
is the entry level positions are pretty easy to bring someone in, get them trained, and they may move on, but you
Yeah.
can keep them. But when you start talking about cybersecurity,
Yeah.
when that position is over your entire cybersecurity footprint posture,
Yes. Yes.
I don't want someone that has no experience.
Yeah.
So that's the one that's a challenge because if I bring someone in internally through our graduate, I want to spend a lot of time with them
Yeah.
and a lot
For
of
sure.
checking just to make sure things are happening the way they should.
Right.
And when you train those guys and they move on, it hurts.
Yeah.
And if you think about your cybersecurity, you can't say, all right, threat actors, pause. I got to hire another guy. Pause.
Mm.
Don't attack me for about 6 months. I need to train somebody. Then you come back at me.
Yeah.
It just doesn't happen in the real world.
Yeah. That's a great thought as well. Like, all of that training and all of that knowledge now has grown on to something bigger and better. And you guys are excited to see that, as you stated. Hey, it's a win either way. But you're right. That's a lot of knowledge that's just walked at that point. And so I like that because now we here at Infusion Points are partnered with Wilkes Community College. And so tell me let's talk a little bit about that partnership and what that means for you, being the CIO and the VP of, operations and IT. And, we're providing that 24/7 monitoring out of our
Mhm.
BNSOC here at Infusion Points. And so what does that do for you to have that type of support, even here locally?
Well, when I identified that cybersecurity for Wilkes Community College was needing to be advanced,
Hmm.
nothing we wasn't doing anything wrong. It's just the world was advancing. The
Right.
threat
Okay.
actors were advancing,
Exactly. Yeah.
and we were not able to keep up because of the load that we already had for
Right.
everyday things. Um, I realized real quick we've got to have some help.
Sure.
But we realized we weren't doing anything wrong. It was just the world was advancing on us. So
Mhm.
I was at a point. I was like, I'm going to have to hire a cybersecurity expert.
Right.
So I started doing the research on that, what it looks like,
Mm-hmm.
what competition I would have in the area. And I was like, I can't afford. I can't
Yeah.
afford
Right.
this person because I don't need someone green coming in. I need an expert.
Right. Exactly.
Um, there's just no way to afford it. So I looked at other opportunities. Now the 58 community colleges. We have a North Carolina community college system. It's over the 58 community colleges, and they've done a lot of work with
Mm-hmm.
cybersecurity. They've hired some cybersecurity experts, SOC experts, that we like each region has an expert that we can call and ask questions.
Right.
So that's been a big positive.
Sure.
But it still is not monitoring and help us mitigate issues.
Right.
They're more of advisors.
Sure.
Right? So that's when I reached out, to InfusionPoints, and I was like, what would this look like?
Yeah.
I can't, even if I did hire, let's say that I got this unlimited funds and I was able to hire an expert for $120,000, $130,000 a year. That person's only going to work 5 days a week.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
and I was seeing our attacks were on weekends, on the holidays, when we're not there.
On the days withdrawal, for
So
sure.
it doesn't make any sense for us to do that. So I reached out to InfusionPoints, and you guys put a proposal together, and I was like, this is definitely doable.
Right.
And again, going back to that return, I went back to leadership, and I was like, guys, I can try to hire somebody, and this is what it's going to cost, plus benefits and all that good stuff.
Yep.
Or we can contract third party with a partner. I always say I have partners. I don't have vendors. I have partners, right?
For sure.
And even when we write contracts, I said we're partners in this.
Yep.
I said we got a partner right down the road here that we can do this way more economical.
Yeah.
And it provides us a whole lot more services than we can do internally.
Yeah.
So that's where we landed with you guys.
Right. Yeah. And I think, you're onto something there. We talk to customers all the time, especially myself, on the SecOps side of the house, right? Where organizations are much like yourself, right? They're looking for, I almost need this staff aug piece is really what it boils down to. And I need that word partner is key in what we do. And I need a partner in this. And hey, I'm thinking about building my own SOC. And so when they start really putting numbers down on paper, they're like, man, okay, yeah, the bodies are one thing, but even then the equipment and the setup to have a security operations center is a completely different thing. But then, like you stated, well, that's going to operate 8x5. These attacks are not happening in the 8x5 time frame. We've seen that. We know that. Studies have shown that. And so it is a heavy lift for organizations to try to take that on. And that's why we really, our belief here at InfusionPoints is that security operations should not be unattainable for any organization at any size. Everybody needs cybersecurity.
Yeah, right.
And the unfortunate part is a lot of organizations don't realize they need cybersecurity until they're in a pickle or they've been hit, and then cybersecurity is front and center. But another thing that you mentioned as well is like you needed somebody with experience, and this is one of the things that coming out of the college as well and going into the workforce that I really started to see was, in IT, traditional IT. So network administration, as you mentioned, right? Desktop support, server administration, right? That's all I'll put it in the bucket of IT. But then you have cybersecurity, which is really this whole other vein. And it really is completely different. It really is. Now, here's the deal. It's so beneficial to have a base knowledge in IT. And so we find that some of our best individuals are individuals that have transitioned out of IT, right? That know how networking works. They know how servers operate. They know corporate infrastructure, if you will. And then them transitioning over to cybersecurity, when they start seeing, hey, threat actors are attacking in this manner, it's really like, oh, well, they're using our own tools against us is what it boils down, right? Yeah. And so we understand what the threat actors are doing when we see them within the network or see them pivoting to and doing some type of lateral movement or something like that. We know what the intent is and what the goal is. And so, yeah, it is a completely different vein, and you do have to have somebody that's really just, that's what they do. That's their sole focus, right? And so, yeah, we appreciate partnering with Wilkes Community College and doing that. We appreciate the opportunity to even sit down and talk with you guys about the needs. And, that it kind of takes us into our next thought here is, what are you guys doing, right? So you've got security operations monitoring, and you've got your IT staff, but what are you doing with overall training
Yeah.
of the employees at Wilkes Community College to help out with that?
Well, I got to back up before we go forward.
Sure.
Our IT at the college was like many IT that I see in the area. We were more break fix, put out fires.
Yep.
And to be a good, successful IT, you need to get more strategy involved.
Yeah.
You got to be strategic in your thinking.
Yeah.
And when it came to the cybersecurity piece, if you're not strategic in your thinking, you're already doomed. You're going to have issues.
For sure.
So building strategy was the first thing. And my team and I, we have an annual retreat where we strategize. Okay.
Yep.
We have a 5-year plan that rolls. We don't build a plan and at the end of the plan we go to the next 5 years. It's a 5-year plan rolling 6, 7, 8 years.
Love it.
One of the strategies that we identified was, hey, our cybersecurity posture is probably not where it needs to be. So first strategy is, how do we get the resources? Okay. We already talked about state budget. State budget is limited.
Very, yeah.
Right.
Okay.
Because when it comes to state budget, I've got to buy endpoints and project. I got to do that. That's the flashy stuff everybody sees. Remember the stuff that's behind the scenes in the closet. No one sees that stuff, right?
Right.
A firewall and all the subscriptions. Nobody sees that stuff until it doesn't work.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So our first strategy was, what can we do to fund cybersecurity? And when you start looking at firewalls, subscriptions, endpoint management or endpoint protection, partnerships, it's not something that you can just throw dollars at. You got to have a strategy.
Sure.
So my team identified, they challenged me. They said, all right, you want us to do this. We challenge you. You've got to get the equipment and the services and the support that we need to do this. So they said, find the money, find funds, find resources. So our first strategy was thinking outside the box. How can we fund this? So we got really strategic, knocking on doors, looking at grants, anything we could find to supplement. We were very fortunate that we were successful in, and several community colleges were successful in some grants that were available. Rural Broadband Grant was one of them. We wrote the National Guard, I don't want to butcher the name of the grant, but it's the SLCGP grant. We were very successful 3 years in a row with that.
Nice.
So that strategy, we had to put that in place.
Yes.
That jump-started everything that we were doing with cybersecurity, but we had to make sure we could sustain it. So anything we were buying, we had to have a plan moving forward, how to keep it going. The grants run out. Makes
sense, yeah.
So our weakest point on the campus is our end users.
Always, yeah.
We could cut everybody's email off. We'd be a whole lot more secure. That's not going to happen.
Go back to green screens, just take the computer away. Yeah.
And so we implemented Know Before training platform several years ago. My network administrator at the time and security administrator came to me and said, hey, this is a good training platform. I was like, get it. I'm interested in it. So we implemented it. We started training employees when they're onboarded, new employees, with things like how to spot phishing email, strong passwords, just stuff like that. Yeah. Then we started doing annual training. So every October, tied to Cybersecurity Awareness Month, we do annual mandatory training. That was their thing. I had to go to leadership.
I love that word.
I had to go to leadership and say, hey, look, guys, to make this impactful, it's got to be mandatory.
Yeah.
And I remember the president at the time said, what do you mean mandatory? I said, well, if you don't do it, you lose your account.
Oof.
And he looked at me and said, you want to go this path? And I said, the alternative's worse.
That's very true.
Yeah.
Very true.
So I got full support.
Yeah.
And the first couple of years, it was pretty tough, ripping that Band-Aid off. But now people just know they got to do it. They lose their account.
Yeah.
So we use Know Before. The good thing, I told you we got a partnership with our community college system.
Right.
They saw that community colleges were using Know Before, saw the value. So now they have a contract for all community colleges.
Oh, wow.
So I used a grant to start it.
Yeah.
But they're fronting the bill moving forward, which is
love it.
Great. So we do that. We do annual training every October. We have events in October.
Hmm.
Now I've got to report to the board of trustees in October of any cybersecurity actions we have, both positive and impactful.
Right.
So that's a new mandatory thing we do every October. So all of our employees, if you look at the percentage of phishing uh, possibilities for
Hmm.
employees, our percentage went from like high 17% of our employees being phished.
Yep.
We're running about 5.3 right now.
Oh, wow. That's good.
That's
Trending in the
good.
right direction.
Training in the right direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that's important as well. Like, I love the fact that you're reporting that out to the board of trustees because really goes back to some of those metrics, but also one of the things that myself and Gary was speaking on a previous podcast was transparency.
Oh, yeah.
Right. And I appreciate you making it mandatory for your users because that's one of the things that we find in the SecOps world here at InfusionPoints when we work with organizations is you have to make it real to the user.
Mm-hmm.
They have to understand that, unfortunately, we're not trying to call them out. We're not trying to badger them or anything like that. But they are, at the end of the day, the end user is the problem. Because you've stated this before. I know I've heard you say this, and we say this all the time, is you don't hack computers. You don't hack servers. You hack people, right? It's all about deception is really what it boils down to. And so when threat actors are looking at a network, right, it's always we find it like 85 to 90% of the time is always going to start with that simple little phishing email or that one thing that the end user missed. And so making it real to the end user is very important. So it's awesome to hear that you're doing that. And I know that InfusionPoints has actually been represented and come over and talk to your employees as well. So we appreciate that.
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate the fact that you're bringing in, as you stated, the experts to talk to them and make it real for them.
Absolutely.
Right? And so, and now even we've recently been over to work with you guys. The world's changing so much with AI.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
And the attacks are becoming more and more sophisticated, but more and more rapid as well with AI on the scene. So I think it's huge that you guys are going in that direction to make it mandatory. And, going back to what you stated, like it was tough to get them to buy in on that. And one of the things that popped out to me when you stated that is either direction you go, you're going to lose your account, right?
Yeah,
you either take the training or excuse me, you either don't take the training and you lose your account, or we get hit with a cybersecurity attack and you're going to lose your account. So yeah, that's it's amazing that you guys have been able to do that. And I'll say this, just from being over there and interacting with your employees, they really seem like they're interested in it now.
Yeah, they are. We've changed the mindset, and actually, we've got some employees that are extremely competitive now. So when we send out the training, they know before we'll give you badges, like awards.
Sure.
And one of the badges is the early bird award.
Nice.
So it's like a huge competition amongst some of the employees to get that early bird badge and
kind of gamify it a little.
Gamify, and then we do monthly phishing tests, and not for a gotcha. It's just train and engage where we're at. And because of that monthly phishing test, there's a leaderboard in the system, and some of the guys and gals are trying to get to the top of that leaderboard, the number of phishing tests that they've identified. So it's changed the whole campus. I'm not going to say everybody loves it. They don't all love it.
Sure.
But it's definitely an area that the training has helped us tremendously. And I feel like it's been impactful enough to stop several attacks on our campus.
I love that.
From the reports.
Yeah. The unfortunate part is that cybersecurity is never going to be convenient.
Well,
and
I've said it for years. The hackers have to be right 1% of the time. We have to be right 100% of the time.
100% of the time. That's right. Yeah, you're exactly right. And again, making it real to the end users and helping them see that and know that. And so, so we've touched on what the community college is doing. We've touched on how Wilkes Community College has really grown to be a leader here, even in North Carolina, in helping the other community colleges and thinking outside the box. I love that, even from a business aspect, and really being strategic, going after some of those grants and the funding. And I will say that to even some of our viewers out there, like those are opportunities that a lot of organizations just they don't even know that they're out there, right? That you could apply for these grants for your funding for cybersecurity, and then allow that to bring in services in. But as you stated, those grants run out. So ensure that you're choosing wisely, because you have to ensure that you don't want to be able to bring something in and use it and leverage it for a year. You want to be able to sustain that, right?
Yeah,
So,
I mean, a good example. One of our grant goals was to update our business continuity plan and standard operating procedures
mhm,
because they were dated.
right.
So we were able to write the grant to bring in folks to help us. I mean, actually, you guys come out and helped
Yeah,
us on it as well to basically look at all of our operations and help us draft our business continuity plan. Um, my team, the college still had a lot of work involved in it, but the lift of having expertise come in and help us identify it was worth a lot of money. So we
true.
were able to leverage grant dollars to do that, and we'll maintain it, going forward. The challenge, one thing I would challenge anybody listening is if you write a grant and you're able to get the flashiest, newest firewall out there, and the subscription is $100,000 a year,
Mhm.
that firewall is not going to be worth anything if you can't afford that subscription after the grant. So just make
Right.
sure you have a strategic plan to maintain
Yeah.
that momentum moving forward.
Yeah. I love that. So let's touch on a little bit. Let's talk a little bit of real world, if that's all right. And again, I'm not asking you to go in depth, but you stated earlier that back in the day, community colleges weren't really a target. I mean, it wasn't really a
Mm,
target of opportunity. I can definitely say this confidently that community colleges are now definitely a target of opportunity, as well as any other business that is out there.
mhm,
It's really, we all understand this now from a threat actor's perspective. In the commercial, even the SLED space, it's a monetary thing, right?
mm.
It's a business to the threat actor, and so anybody is a target of opportunity. Talk to me about, has the community college, you don't have to go in depth, obviously, but has the community college had some scares out there, and, the lessons learned from that now?
Absolutely. The scary part about that is we hope we know all the scares.
Ah, that's good.
Yeah, because the things that are silent are more scary to me than the ones we know
Mm,
about.
that's a
But
great statement.
we have had some scares at the college. I can remember one in particular. My team and I was sitting at a conference table, and the computer that we were using to project on the screen popped up a warning um, about a file trying to be ran. It was blocked. The file was being blocked.
Right,
I thought that was weird, and I can't remember. It was carbon. We was using Carbon Black, and
right.
we
Hmm.
had just implemented Carbon Black the week prior,
Oh, wow.
so it was that close.
Wow.
So then we started getting calls like immediately. People were calling and saying, "Man, there's something popping up on my screen about this file is being blocked." And we got to looking, and it was a file being pushed out
Mm,
to our computers.
mm,
Luckily, Carbon Black stopped it.
wow.
1 week, we were on it. That's how close.
That's crazy. Because let me set the stage for anybody that may be watching and may not fully understand the implications of that. Sitting there, seeing those files attempting to be pushed out to the machine and then even executed, and the EDR they're picking up on that and doing its job, which is great. Uh, but the fact still remains, somebody had access at that point. Somebody was able to be pushing that out.
And I'll speak to that. We talking about trust your partners, right?
Right.
Trust your software. The way this file was being pushed out, we had implemented a remote desktop service so
Hmm.
that my techs could work on computers,
Sure.
remotely. It was a cloud-based service.
Yeah.
And what had happened is that service got compromised.
Oof. Yeah.
And there was some settings in the cloud setup that were not appropriately configured.
Right.
And it didn't allow anybody to remote into a computer.
Right.
We didn't nail it down to that point. But it did allow you to send and execute out.
Okay. Makes sense.
So they sent out the payload, executable,
Yep.
auto run type thing.
Hmm.
Luckily, again, 1 week, Carbon Black. Carbon Black detected it, stopped it. Or if we hadn't had that, or if
Yeah.
it had been a week prior,
Yeah.
we would have been toast.
Wow.
So we use every incident as an opportunity to grow.
Yeah. For
And
sure.
honestly, every time not just cyber, but we have power outages with Helene.
Yeah.
You know, all these incidents.
Yeah.
We think we're perfect, and then we
Right.
figure out, oh man,
Yeah.
I got a DR site, but Helene was so big that even the DR site was down. You know, that type of thing.
Yeah,
You
exactly,
learn
for
as
sure.
you go. I finally got a generator in a data center. Believe it or not, 20
wow.
years of trying to get a generator, and Helene got it for me.
Nice.
Yeah, but you know, you learn from every incident. But that was probably the scariest one. Now the craziest one was here pretty recently when, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe it was CrowdStrike
Yeah.
that caused a ripple.
Might have had a little hiccup in the middle of the night. Stopped everybody's heart.
Yep.
The entire
So
world.
I remember watching the news that morning. They're like, most people are not impacted. You'll be good if you're on a certain if you're on the latest version, you're good.
Yeah.
And I remember us making sure we have everything patched.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, we're good. So you know, I went to the local dive and diner for breakfast and socialize, and I just eased my way into campus, and I walked in, and every computer I could see was blue screen. And I said, "Oh Lord, here we go again."
Yep.
But the thing is, though, yeah, we were updating, but it was like the definitions,
It was. Yep.
and we didn't have those updated. They were on like a -2 schedule, where you know 2 versions behind.
Mm-hmm.
They hosed every server we had that day. I mean, it was fixable,
Sure.
but it took, gosh, so much time to do.
Yeah. I remember we faced that here at InfusionPoints, and I remember getting that call early in the morning. I mean, everybody was probably still asleep. I know everybody was still asleep at that point. You know, even our customer sets. Nobody really realized what was going on, and you know, for good or bad, information was kind of slow to trickle out about what was truly going on. And I remember leadership here at InfusionPoints was meeting about it, and I was like, "Listen, this seems like even a large scale cybersecurity attack worldwide."
Yeah.
I mean, because we were seeing things on the other side of the globe that were shutting down, you know, airports, banking, and it was like, this is huge. And I was like, the problem is there's nowhere that's not impacted. And so if this is a global cybersecurity attack, what nation state is sending this out? Because guess what? They hit their own nation at that point.
Yeah.
But we quickly learned and started doing some research and was like, okay, we understand what this is. And then at that point, it was just kind of a waiting game. Even there was a lot of people I know that kind of knee-jerked a little bit on that as well, and started rebuilding servers and rebuilding computers
Until the report came out of how to fix it.
Yeah, and then something came out. It's like, hey, this will kind of self-fix itself. Here's some steps to do it. And so, yeah, that was it. That was a big one.
No, I ain't gonna lie, I was panicking. I thought we'd been hit hard. Yeah. And I'll share another incident that's a little bit different, but it's very important to me. You know, we have a lot of students on campus, and they have student email accounts, and they're a target as well.
For sure.
And you know, most of our students, they're struggling. You know, they don't have a whole lot. They're trying to go to school. They're buying books, or you know, life happens. They got kids, daycare. So when you start stealing money from students, that's a double whammy.
Yeah, for sure.
So we've had incidents, and the one in particular where a phishing email went out to the student population. Now we've got some things in place now to kind of will correct this. But back in the day, an email went out about a babysitting job for a pet sitting job.
Yeah.
And of course, some of the students were like, yeah, I need the extra money.
Sure.
You know, but one particular case I can remember, the threat actor went from a pet sitting email to their college email address, gained their trust to move to a private email address. So I'm completely oblivious.
You're blind at that point, right?
I have no idea what's going on. To gain more trust to text, to gain trust to they finally eventually talked that young lady into buying appliances for a house here in Wilkes that they didn't even own. They just used Zillow to find it. She bought appliances at Lowe's, had to return it, get gift cards, ship them the gift cards, and they got her for a lot of money.
Wow.
I mean, that's the things that we're dealing with.
Yeah, and that's very interesting too, because your population is not just employees, right? It's the students as well, which is going to be constantly turning over for you guys. So constantly training, constantly learning. I think that again goes back to who you guys are at Wilkes Community College and what it is you're striving to do there. So, so with that, let's wrap up with this last topic here, and I'm excited to get to this one because there's been one thing that you stated a long time ago, many years to me, that's always kind of I've held near and dear, and I've told many people this as I've came through my IT career and now cybersecurity career as well. But what would you say to the younger generation out there, or the individuals that are either just in college or getting ready to come out of college and step into the workforce, or have maybe even just stepped into the workforce? What would be your word to the wise to them?
Oh Lord, I don't remember exactly what I said, but I can tell you what I would tell the students now. Um, Number one thing for any student, anybody that's going into IT, you are. It's a lot like the military.
Yeah,
You're signing on to something big,
for
and it's
sure,
got commitment
for sure.
and ongoing educational requirements,
Mm,
innovation, constant change.
yeah,
So if you can't sign that contract, you don't need to be in IT.
I
You know,
love that.
that's just I've gotten a little more rough around the edges in my older age.
No, but that's all right. I
But
love that. You're
yeah,
exactly right. It's this field is ever changing, and it's changing so fast right
yes,
now in this era that we're in.
well,
It is hard to keep up. I mean,
it
even
is.
you
Yeah,
know, a cybersecurity firm like us, we're constantly having to recertify, learn new technology, and we have to learn it faster than the threat
you
actors.
have to. And the thing is, and 10 years or the first 10 years of my career, there was change.
Sure.
It's not fast, but it's change.
Yeah.
The next 10 years was double the speed.
Yeah.
The next 5 years was triple the speed. I mean, it's just increasing so fast. Now it's like yearly. You can't keep up with what's going on from the last year
Hmm.
unless you're reading and really putting the resources out there that you need.
Yeah.
So my advice to all up and coming IT professionals is just make sure you understand
Yeah.
what you're signing on to.
Right.
Because as a professional, I don't need someone that's just there for 8 to 5 and forget it at the end of
Yeah.
the day.
It's not a job; it's a
I
career.
need someone that's invested with me as much as I'm invested with them.
I love that.
And that's what we try to teach our students. That's like the good thing about our co-op and work study program in my shop is we've had students come in and they don't even they don't finish. They said, "This is not for me,"
Right.
and they're gone. And that's okay.
Yeah.
I'd rather them figure it out then than
Yeah.
later.
Yeah. Exactly.
So, I don't remember exactly what I told you. So you have to remind
Well,
me.
yeah, so this was probably a little later on in my career,
Hmm.
and still had connections with you as I always do. And one of the things I heard you say, and I don't know, I can't remember if it was either in class, but you may have even been speaking to a class, and you said this, and it just made sense to me because you talked about completely redesigning the network there at
Right,
community
right.
college, and I had done much the same in my career where I was at the time. And we get to a point where, man, we hold on to that baby.
Hmm.
Like, it's like, man, this is my network.
That's right.
Yeah, like, this is my environment. Like,
That's right.
I built this, and I want to hold on to it. And you made a statement, and this, I've held this to this day, and I'll tell people this all the time. You said, if you're not replaceable, you're not promotable.
That's right.
And I was like, what does he mean by that? Like,
That's right.
you're telling me that I got to be, that they've got to be able to kick me to the curb and find somebody else? But there's so much truth in that
Just like that.
because you have to train up the
Mhm.
next level to be
Yes.
able to come in and take over and do what it is that you're doing so that you can then step up and help lead.
You're exactly. I do remember saying it now, and here's the challenge for me because I did grow. I was fortunate. I came into the time of Wilkes Community College when they had just wrote a grant for something called Net 98,
Yeah.
which fiber optic the entire campus, bought the first computers for the campus.
Nice.
They bought the Bay Network switches with all the
Yeah.
public
Oh, yeah.
IP, all that good
Taking me
stuff.
way back.
So, I came in at the right time. I was
Right.
very fortunate. And I was fortunate enough to be very fast paced to the point that I was probably even pushing some of the leadership to get things
Mhm.
moving. Um, so I was extremely lucky in my career.
Yeah.
But I was able to grow a lot of systems in
Yeah.
my career and own the systems.
Mhm.
Ownership means a lot.
Sure.
So I own the network, I own the phone system,
Yeah.
and even the computers. I changed how we image computers, but
Mm.
all that technology is old school now.
Yeah.
So my hardest thing in my career is as I've advanced, I've had to give up the stuff I really enjoyed.
Yeah. Yeah.
And my most of my turnover that I have, the most obvious turnover I have is the networking position,
Mm-hmm.
because I'm training folks to a level that they are very successful and can move on to bigger and better things.
Right.
One of my network administrators that started out with me is now over all the cybersecurity for another college in the state of North Carolina.
Yep.
He reports straight to the president over all cybersecurity.
Yep.
That's a plus for me.
Yeah,
I did
exactly.
something right.
I know exactly what
But
you're talking about.
the challenge though
Yeah.
is I had to say, all right, it's yours now.
You can leave the nest and
Yeah. And
understand.
and and then the other challenge, I'll tell you the other challenge, and this is a challenge for all IT. I think if you're modest enough and you're humble and honest enough about it,
Mhm.
we want to look like we know everything,
right.
but we can't.
Yeah.
There's no way. So I remember my early career, someone asking my boss how to do something fairly simple, on a computer or a projector or something.
Mhm.
He's like, "Oh, I don't know. Ask Michael." Like, dude, you're the boss. How do you not know that?
Right, right. Yeah,
You're
exactly.
the head honcho. You should know all this stuff.
Yes.
But it took me lots of years to realize he shouldn't know that.
Right.
He's the strategy guy.
Yes.
He's the budget guy.
Yes.
He's getting me the resources.
Yeah.
Now, you and I talked briefly about the military comment you made on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
The boss eats last.
Yeah.
But the boss makes sure I have my resources.
Exactly.
So that was a challenge for me, because then I had to say, without calling any names on my networking guys, I was like, all right, we need to do a network upgrade, and I'm going to let you do it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh man, there goes my baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Mike's sitting at home at night. What's wrong?
And the only thing that I still have ties to right now is our phone system. We have yet to change. We're still Cisco Call Manager phone system.
Wow.
We're exploring other options.
Sure.
But we're still Call Manager.
Yeah.
And it feels good because they'll come to me and say, man, we can't figure this out. I'm like,
Yeah.
I still got my finger on that one.
He said, yeah. Let me dust that off and show you, show you young whippersnappers a little something here.
And I told my new network administrator that I hired 5 years ago. He's moved on to better things as well, just here recently. But 5 years ago when I hired him, right out of college, he was a graduate of our program. Actually, I hired him about 6 months before he graduated.
Right.
That's how much I believed in him and trusted him.
That's awesome.
He really impressed me a lot. I told him, I said, before you end your career with me, because I said, you'll go somewhere. I don't know where, but before you end with me, you will be monitoring, managing, and configuring all your layer 2 switches from the cloud, one pane of glass.
Yeah.
He's, man, you're crazy. He's a command line.
Yeah,
system. He's, you're crazy. We're Juniper now. Everything in the cloud.
Every cloud,
And he did it.
sure.
He designed it. He done the whole thing.
That's awesome.
It's pretty impressive to know that you took a graduate from a 2-year program and give him the audacity to just say, here's the budget. And he's upgraded our entire layer 3, 2, and Wi-Fi network.
Wow.
Yeah. But he had partners.
Sure.
That's the treat.
But for them, such a resume builder as well.
It is a huge resume, but for us as leaders, as we grow, like you said, we can't know everything.
Right.
And we've got to trust our employees
Yeah,
to
for sure.
grow behind us. Succession planning.
Exactly.
I mean, I got 27 years of college.
Yeah.
I got to start succession planning soon.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing is, we do a lot of great things here at InfusionPoints, but it's because we got a great team.
That's
And that's the key thing.
Yep.
So,
Yep.
Well, Mike, man, I can't thank you enough for coming and being part of the podcast today. Again, you yourself hold a special place in my career, special place even in my heart. I'll say, man, every time I see you out in town, it's like running into an old friend. I love just getting together and being able to kind of banter back and forth with you and reminisce about the old days even. But thanks so much for being with us today. And that'll conclude another podcast here. And so as Gary Damer always states, you can always catch us behind the shield.
Thank you.
Thanks.